Do you ever feel like practicing scales just makes you better at, well, playing scales? What if there was a way to practice that actually helps you create your own lick instead of just repeating the same old patterns? Today, I'm showing you one of my go-to minor pentatonic exercises, and by the end of this video, you'll know how to turn simple exercises into something that leads to developing your own sound. Let's break it down. First, you need to identify the key. Here's why this is so important. Not knowing the key is like trying to write a story without knowing the language. I've been to jam sessions where I've seen players freeze up because they couldn't figure out the key, and they ended up doing the walk of shame off the stage. Don't let that happen to you. Find the root note or the first note in the chord, and you're halfway there. Here's what to do. Listen for the bass note, then using the number system, experiment with what the chord may be. Once you've got the key, you need the scale, and that takes us to the next step. All right, so we're gonna be in the key of C major today. That means we're gonna hover around our 6, which is our A minor. So we're gonna be focusing on the A minor pentatonic for this exercise. That last note is where we're gonna start with our exercise. Now I come down here, you could technically do this right here, but I've been doing this pattern this particular way for so long, I like to come down to this C right here versus playing it right here. But these are the same notes that are in the minor pentatonic, just to let you know. The goal is not to rush to memorize it. You want to focus in on understanding it and getting comfortable with where the notes are, where the root note is, and how they connect, and what it sounds like. And one more important tip, accuracy is everything. If you fumble through the pattern, your licks are going to sound super sloppy. So slow down and focus in on clear, clean articulation of every note. Now here's where the magic happens when it comes to using the metronome. And yes, we use it to help us to stay on time, but here's something that you may not have heard of. Practicing with the metronomes also helps you to find the pocket where you can play around the beat. And what I'm trying to do is trying to find the sweet spot. So as I listen, I'm gonna find the sweet spot. So the beat doesn't change, so it sits right there. So it allows for a lot of space to kind of hover in that area. And I wanna think of that cool little space where I can just kind of move around, right? Instead of always landing on the 1, I might be a little bit behind. 2, 3, 4, go. Think of this as your creative playground. You can play on beat, you can play slightly ahead, or sit back behind. The metronome helps you focus in and refine your timing and start shaping ideas in real time, which can lead us to the best part. We're now ready to create and develop lick ideas. Here's what you do. Use a pattern as the base. Start experimenting with the techniques like bends, slides, and pausing in unexpected areas. Let me show you how I would do this with 2 examples. All right, so I'm gonna take Ain't No Sunshine, but I'm gonna use the pattern that we were working on the minor pentatonic to give me some kind of cool solo lick ideas, right? Now, if I was using the melody for Stairway to Heaven, that little minor walk down, I can show you how I can add the pentatonic rhythmic lick that we were using in order to add a little bit more flavor to it, right? I've given you some good tips today, but here's the bottom line. If your practice isn't productive, you won't see the results that you're aiming for. To help you stay on track, Here are a few things to avoid while practicing. Don't rush. It's not about the speed. Speed comes when you're accurate. Make sure you're playing the pattern correctly. Double check your notes and your finger placement. Avoid playing muddy or unclear notes. If it sounds super messy, slow down, clean it up. Don't bypass this, trust me. When you start practicing with this approach, you'll notice something changes for you. Suddenly, you're not just practicing, you're creating. You're finding your own voice in the notes, making the music feel personal and alive. So don't just run the minor pentatonic like a robot. Practice and experiment with it so you can get inspired to develop your own licks. And now that you have the process for developing your own licks, how can you use them to spice up your own chord progression? Check this video out.